We are in Sūrah al-Taghābun, Surah 64. We are ayah number 6, 7, 8. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فآمنوا بالله ورسوله والنور الذي أنزلنا والله بما تعملون خبير. So in the understanding of the tasbih that every thing makes for Allah, and the tasbih then brings about Allah's qudra and creativity, and then going into Allah's creation of man into believers and non-believers, and how Allah creates the heavens and the earth and everything with it, and how Allah fashions human beings in different forms, and Allah's knowledge is absolute, like His power is absolute, and so on. Then the idea of the non-believers assuming that they will not be resurrected. So we continue with that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَآمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. So all of you believe in Allah and His Rasul, وَالنُّورِ الَّذِي أَنزَلْنَا, and believe in the nur that we have revealed. Wallahu bima ta'amaluna khabir. Allah is well aware of what you do. So here you have three basic propositions. One is belief in Allah. The second is belief in His Rasul. And the third is belief in Nur, the Nur that Allah reveals. And then the conclusion that Allah knows everything that we are doing. So here the emphasis is on Iman and belief. Iman and belief is in of itself the greatest ibadah. The greatest ibadah is belief in Allah, and then belief in the Rasul. So this belief goes way beyond a kind of ritualistic, cultural acquiescence to the existence of Allah, where it's not supposed to be left on the shelves. It's supposed to become participant in our lives, that we believe Allah is with us at all times, and not just when we are in salat or something. So belief is a permanent state. It's a constant state, where doing salat is not a constant state, is an act, one-off, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But when you have belief, you are in the constant state of ibadah. That is why it is the greatest ibadah. You cannot be stripped of Iman at any time if you believe. The difference is sometimes we bring about the belief and sometimes we don't. But nevertheless, you will always be a constant, continuous believer if you say, I believe in Allah, amantu billah. Okay? So the effect of belief is constant, even subconsciously and even unconsciously. In every state, once you say La ilaha illallah, once you believe Allah exists, then it will be permanent. You cannot be detached from it, ever. Unless, God forbid, you utter words of kufr, or you do something very stupid. But that is why Allah says, فَآمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ. All of you believe in Allah and then continue to believe in Allah throughout your day, throughout your lives, continuously, constantly, where you keep reminding yourself Allah is here, Allah is with you, and so on. So that constant reminder is called dhikr. Constant reminder is called dhikr, where you remind that Allah is here. You're unfortunately going down the road and you hit a bump and you say Bismillah, you say Allahu Akbar, and then you are reminded Allah is there. Why is it a reminder? Because you're always in the state of Iman. You're always there with Allah. And Allah is always there with you. So Muslims just need to, press the record button every now and then to remind themselves. This is Allah in action. Allah is controlling. And then obviously in your state of dua and state of dhikr, state of salat, continue to strengthen your Iman, your belief in Allah, and so on. So belief in Allah is a permanent state. It is a permanent ibadah for which you will be eligible to enter Jannah. That's why it's huge. And so don't underestimate the fact that you do believe in Allah. فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Allah says to the Prophet ﷺ, know that there is no one there worthy of worship except Allah. So that is an active mindset, an active action that you produce yourself to know that Allah is there, Allah is one. And constantly remind yourself through dhikr, through dua, through la ilaha illallah, and so on. So then the effects of that will become very normal, and you'll see the world very differently once you know Allah is there with you, and He is there taking care of you, and He is aware of everything you're doing. Wallahu bima ta'maluna khabir. So the first is belief Allah is the Almighty, and He is the only one worthy of worship. And He's the only one I turn to when I need help. Wa Rasulihi, then belief in the Rasul is just as good as belief in Allah. You must believe in the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So that Tawheed is not enough for your salvation. You need to believe in Allah's messenger. And that is that Allah gives His knowledge to His messenger whom He has chosen. So now you believe in Allah through Tawheed, and you believe in the Rasul as the divine choice. Who is the Rasul? The Rasul is the divine choice for humanity. Meaning, who is going to represent Allah in front of all of humanity? His Rasul. So there you have to acquiesce to the superiority of the Rasul. Humble yourself in front of the Rasul. Acknowledge that the only knowledge you have is going to be through the Rasul, not through your aql, not through experience, not through any of the means. That whatever knowledge I have, it must come from the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So that is what belief in the Rasul means. You follow guidelines and your lifestyle and your worldview according to Allah's Rasul, not according to your rationale, which is maybe a bigger sacrifice than believing in Allah Himself. Believe in Allah is okay, He's a superior being, supreme being, I worship Him and I pray and I make sajda in front of Him. Okay, even though that's very active and it's something that you do willingly, not passively. But belief in the Rasul requires you to forego your aql, your mind, where science and technology, the USA and AI, and Elon Musk is now telling you they're God. And the Rasul comes and says, no, they're not God. It's not worshipping these false idols. They are temporary. Okay? They are subject to change and they will disappear. As Ibrahim alayhi salam says, I don't like anything that disappears. The sun, the moon, the stars, they're always there. They're always present, but they disappear, meaning they can't help you all the time. But with the Rasul, he's always going to be guiding you, your aql, and your emotions, and your aspirations, and your worldview, and your lifestyle. Okay? He's going to guide you. He's going to be your referee. But for human beings, especially nowadays, to acknowledge that they need someone else to show them the right path, that's an incredible, incredible submission. Okay? And that's why most people don't believe, because they don't want to let go of their freedom to think and freedom to choose. And so once you believe in the Rasul, then you have given up your freedom to choose your lifestyle, to choose the way you think, to choose the way you act and react and interact and behave and aspire and dream, etc. Now you're going to be following the Rasul. But here's the kicker. The kicker is when you follow the Rasul, you are in eternity. You are in Allah's rahmah. And Allah's rahmah is eternity. Meaning that if you forego your very limited aql, and you subscribe to the aql of the Rasul, where the aql of the Rasul is beyond the heavens and the kursi and the arsh, the aql of the Rasul is always with Allah. So you're in safe hands. You're in good hands. If you give up your thinking for the thinking of the Rasul will enhance your intelligence. He will make you 1,000,000 times more smarter than you might be. And he will lead you into eternal bliss just for this small sacrifice. You can't even make sense of your own life. And you can't even make decisions on a daily basis. And when you do, you get it wrong. So why not make a decision based on the representative of Allah, Allah's ambassador, the one who knows Allah's word and Allah's intent. So if you know that, then you're much better off, as in the case with everything else we do in life. You have a medical situation and you have a world-renowned doctor sitting in front of you, but you say, no, I don't want to acquiesce to this guy because he's a human being. As in the previous ayah, Abasharu yahdunana. There's a man who's going on, and you say, no, let me hit the books. Let me hit all the medical journals and pharmaceutical manuals, and let me decide for myself because I am free. What is the best prescription for me? The genius doctor sitting next to you will say, good luck with that. Just kill yourself. It's much easier. Likewise, you have a case in court, and the greatest, genius lawyer is there, and he's willing to bat for you and take your case and say, no, I'm free. I want to use my own aql to decide how I'm going to fight this case. The attorney will say, you can't afford me anyway, so get lost. Or even as simple as a mechanic. Never mind that, those are big issues. That you have a car and you want to say, let me now YouTube this, fix my car. And everybody will say, you're nuts. Just take it to the mechanic, just pay him $5, $10, $50, who cares? At least it'll get done. He knows what he's doing. He says, no, I am free. I want freedom. Don't tell me what to do. So it's the same with your salvation, the same with your method of ibadah, it's the same with your ethics, behavior, and lifestyle, etc. That you do have your own freedom to choose, but it's much easier to rely on someone who is an expert, who's been there, done that, who's seen the effects of actions in Jannah and Jahannam, and he can tell you this way, not this way. So you have the freedom to be stubborn and be rebellious and say, no, I'm going to exercise my own freedom. And the Rasul will say that, that's not the way for you. He will beg you to follow him because he's concerned about your salvation and your najat and your akhirah. You're not concerned about your akhirah, but the Rasul is. Now, where do you get that kind of generosity in any human being? That this human being doesn't care whether he gets the medicine right or whether he gets the, court strategy right or whether he fixes his car properly. He doesn't care. But the Rasul says, I care. I don't want you ending up in Jahannam. So that amount of compassion and that amount of generosity has to be divine. So now the Rasul is taking you out, as you will see later, from ignorance and darkness into nur. Right? And that's what this ayah means. وَالنُّورِ الَّذِي أَنزَلْنَا. Believe in the Rasul and believe in the nur that we send with the Rasul. Because the nur that comes with the Rasul is going to help you make the right choice in everything you do in life, as I just said. So that is why the benefit of believing in the nur. So now you have to believe in Allah, that's constant. You have to believe in the Rasul, which also becomes constant once you say, وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ. So then it becomes permanent. And then nur is now going to guide you to see the difference between right and wrong. It becomes a criterion, and you can now make your choice based on the evidence and the nur that the Rasul is bringing to you. Okay, so now the nur is now going to help you rationalize, be more intellectual. So Allah wants you to be intellectual by ascribing the nur of the Rasul to you and to your life. So it's not something that is irrational. It's something that you must be very understanding, that Allah is saying that human beings have faculties. What is one faculty? One faculty is Iman, first faculty, meaning belief. Use your belief willingly, not blindly. I willingly submit to Allah and His superiority. I willingly submit to the Rasul and his guidance, and I willingly submit to the nur that comes with the Rasul. So now I am in good hands and I can see right from wrong. I can see the light, because that's what nur is. Nur is light, and it allows you to see in the dark. Once you turn on the lights, you can see everything. Well, if you leave the room dark, you can't see anything except very in a blur. Everything's confusing you in a fog in your life and so on. So the Rasul gives you immense love, compassion, and the nur gives you the ability to make sure your mind is working correctly. So the Quran doesn't say don't use the mind. The Quran says use the mind correctly with the nur. You don't go in with your eyes closed, go in with your eyes open. When your eyes open, you see the nur. That is now how you will acquiesce your rationale and your intellectual faculties to the nur. But you have to believe it is nur in the first place. But if you don't believe that Islam has nur, Islam is nur, as mentioned in another surah before, you just read it in surah, what do you call it, in Surah Saf. Wallahu mutimma nurihi. Then Allah is going to complete His nur, which is Islam. So there we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that use your faculty of submission, use your faculty of obedience, and use your faculty of intellect to submit to the nur and the guidance that Allah has revealed with the Rasul. If you do that, then you're in good shape and you'll be in good standing with Allah and yourself also. You'll feel much better. Allahu bima ta'maluna khabir. Allah is very much aware of whatever it is you do. So Allah's knowledge of your micro life is now supreme, that He understands you, your emotions, your thoughts, your ideas at a very micro level. So He's now involved with you with His knowledge all the time. It is constant, it is permanent. There is no moment when Allah does not know what you're doing. That brings you close to Allah, right? That gives you proximity, that brings love into you. Oh, Allah knows everything I do. He's watching, He's supervising, He's here. And He has given me guidance and He has given me the Rasul. So you have this confidence in you that I'm aware of Allah's awareness and I want to please Allah at all times. So just be bringing people into a state of permanent dhikr is what maybe the murad and the intent of these ayat, that you must establish a sense of permanency with your Iman and belief in the Rasul and with the nur that Allah sends down for human beings, basically. يوم يجمعكم ليوم الجمع ذلك يوم التغابن ومن يؤمن بالله ويعمل صالحا يكفر عنه سيئاته ويدخله جنات تجري من تحت الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك الفوز العظيم. This is the day of, what you call it, mutual loss and gain. Taghabun from ghibun, which is loss in the transaction. So when you lose in one transaction, that's called ghibun. Taghabun shows from the bab of mufa'ala, where it's now two-sided. So there's mutual loss. What is this mutual loss? Oh, there's a sense of deception also in the word riban. But anyway, what I'm saying is that the hadith clarifies this. Now when you say hadith, hadith is the nur that Allah sends down to understand this nur. One nur is the Quran, the other nur is the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's guidance and advice and his hadith. So the hadith will make clear the intent of the ayah. So you cannot understand any ayah without understanding what the Rasul says about the ayah. So you have now two standards of guidance. One is Allah Himself, and the other is the Rasul. The Rasul guides you to what the meaning of this ayah is. So the Rasul said about this ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designated a place in Jannah for every human being. Very powerful hadith. Then he said, Allah has designated a place in Jahannam also for every human being. Right? You go figure, okay. Oh, I didn't know this level of aqidah, okay. I just knew Jannah is there and Jahannam is there. What is this? That's why you need to study. So there are levels of aqidah. But anyway, so there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will then show everybody their place in Jannah and their assumed place in Jahannam. Then on the day of judgment, Allah will bring the believer in front of the kafir. And then He will say to the kafir, this was where you could have been in Jannah. And He will show the mu'min believer also that this is where he could have been in Jannah. But he isn't there because of his kufr. So now the Taghabun, the mutual exchange of loss will be that Allah will grant this believer the place where this kafir was supposed to be in Jannah also, as an added punishment and gift for them. So now this kafir will say, oh, what the heck is, I lost there too. I'm already in Jahannam, but I also lost my place where I was supposed to be. So that's the Taghābun, mutual loss. So he's losing on both sides. Okay. So this is how, you see, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the day that Allah gathers you, on the day of gathering, that is the day of mutual loss. Right? And then on top of that, He will show the kafir that this was maybe the assumed place of this believer in Jahannam. You can inherit that too. Right, there you go. Double whammy, which is a serious matter. Allah save us from this. Taghābun is a very powerful, description of how things work on the day of judgment. There are things on the day of judgment don't work according to our rationale. Aqidah is not rational. It is all based on wahi. So there's no ijtihad in aqidah, right? Because you can't determine aqidah of the akhirah or the dunya, for that matter, based on your aql. You can't use your rational, say this is what's going to happen. Meaning, if you know something is going to happen in the grave, it has to be based on the Quran or Hadith. You cannot use your mind to determine that because it is beyond time and space. Likewise, you must not assume that this will happen in Jannah. There's no assumption. There's no room for ijtihad there. So what about this? What do you say about this? I don't know. Then how will you know? You'll know through wahi. So there are reports about the children of non-believers in the akhirah. So there are contradictory nusus, meaning reports from hadith. Some hadith say that they will be saved, where other hadith say no. So Abu Hanifa was asked, what do you say about children of non-believers in the akhirah? So he said, I don't know. I'm not speculating. The hadith is not clear. I mean, he didn't use ijtihad. It is not allowed to use your mind to determine anything in the akhirah, neither in the qabr, nor on the day of judgment, nor in Jannah, Jahannam. You can't use your mind. It is prohibited. Nobody can assume or deduce or conclude this is what's going to happen. If you don't know, just say you don't know. But don't speculate and don't shoot from the hip and don't be holier than that. I know, I think this is what's going to happen. There's no room for I think in Aqidah. It has to be based on sound hadith or the Quran. If there's no such thing, then you cannot speculate. You will be punished for holding that Aqidah if it's not founded on the Quran hadith. All right? Yeah. So that you must realize that knowledge sometimes, because it's not rational. Okay, what happens on the day of judgment is not necessarily rational. We can't rationalize. So what is this? How is Allah now giving the place and the property of this kafir to the believer? Why is that rational? It ain't rational. Especially if you're Mu'tazili, so get the heck out of here. You should be tit for tat for the Mu'tazili, right? You say it doesn't matter. That's what the hadith says, and that's what you believe. You acquiesce to the Rasul, you acquiesce to the Nur. You don't play games with the Akhirah, with yourself and for other people. So if you don't know, just say, I do not know. Finish, khalas, end of story. Don't speculate. Allah will hold you responsible for speculating. There's sin in action. There's also sin in how you represent knowledge. You cannot represent knowledge of the akhirah through your aql. It's not allowed. It is un-Islamic. It is more haram than eating pork. The sin is greater. Yeah, that's why we, especially in the West, we get over this. This is not rational. It's not supposed to be rational. And who cares about your rationality anyway? You're just a stupid button guy. What level of rationality do you have? Okay. To say this is not rational. So even the greatest of Imams, if they did not know the answer to a question in the Akhirah, they would say, I don't know. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is the taqwa. That is the level of taqwa you need in ilm, so that you can be an Imam. But if you're just going around shooting, blanks and shooting from the hip, and you're going to destroy yourself, destroy other people's akhirah, don't listen to idiots who do not have knowledge of what the Quran and Sunnah says about the akhirah. The akhirah is beyond time and space. It is beyond your aql. It is beyond rationale. Don't try to make sense of it. Just believe and acquiesce. Eventually, after years of thinking and acquiescing, Allah will show you the nur of why it is this way. But that's eventually. It won't be overnight. It's not a drive-through process. I need to know the answer to this. But you ain't get it. You have to go through mujahada. Try studying 20, 30 years and try knocking your head here and there. Try making some dhikr and dua that Allah opens up this nur for you. Then He might do that. But until you do that, you're not getting anywhere. So we have to be patient with our ignorance as we are patient with our knowledge. So this is why. This is يَوْمَ يَجْمَعُكُمْ لِيَوْمِ الْجَمْعِ ذَلِكَ يَوْمُ التَّغَابُنِ. That is the day of mutual loss. Yeah, where there's a sense of obviously hypocrisy there also, and so on. And then Allah makes the statement again. وَمَن يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ. Whoever now believes in Allah with the nur of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he believes all the affairs of the akhirah as the Rasul believed, then he will be on his way to Jannah, inshallah. But that's, as I said, aqidah then and belief is now a huge form of ibadah itself. Having the wrong aqidah is a bid'ah, and that is a greater sin than some of the actions that are sinful. You can't have a false aqidah because that is permanent. If you walk around with a false perception of Allah and the Rasul and the Akhirah, then it is constantly with you. You're in that state permanently of ignorance, right? And dhulmah, darkness, and the only way you're going to come out of it is if you make tawbah and you correct your aqidah. So not everything academic is going to be pleasing. Make sure your academic understanding of Islam is in line with the Rasul and the nur of the Rasul. And there we, especially here in the US, many Muslims, because they have accolades and they have every, letter of the alphabet next to their name. They think they can, tackle any issue. No, you can't. You cannot tackle the issues of Yawmul Qiyamah. That's all based on belief, not speculation. It's not up to you to decide what happens on the Day of Judgment. It is up to Allah, because He's not Maliki Yawmiddin. Who is the owner of the Day of Judgment? Allah. Are you the owner of the Day of Judgment? No. Then why are you saying this is going to happen? Why are you playing God? Allah should do this. Oh, okay, well, thank you very much. This is a good thing you're not God. It's a very good thing we're not worshipping you. Maliki Yawmiddin, that's your aqidah. Allah is in total control of all the affairs of the Day of Judgment, and you should acquiesce to that authority. That authority of the Day of Judgment belongs only to Allah, no one else besides Allah, not the angels, not the prophets. And once you have that, this is a constant now state of Iman and Aqidah. But if you exercise all of your thinking and your energy and your understanding into something that is false, then you are in a constant, permanent state of kufr. And that doesn't go away from you. You're permanently in kufr. It's a permanent sin. So there you must then rebound all your ideas of ulama. Make sure that your aqidah is in line with the Quran, Sunnah, with the Rasul, with the nur of the Rasul. Make sure that you don't go this way and you don't go that way. Meaning you do have aql and you should use it as we just said. But you can't use it against the aqidah of the Quran and Sunnah. So whoever believes in Allah, وَمَا يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ, you have to believe in Allah. That Allah is the one who gives you knowledge and gives you tawfiq وَيَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا. And then he does good deeds. So having Iman is a permanent ibadah, and doing good deeds is a constant reminder of belief in Allah. How would you maintain your belief in Allah? You do good deeds all the time. You continue every day and you do everything in a very human way. What is the human way? See, the human way, as I've mentioned, I think before, is extremely boring, extremely monotonous. But we do it anyway, right? We wake up in the morning every day. We go to the bathroom every day. We brush our teeth every day. We have breakfast every day. We get in the car and drive in the snow, in the cold, every day. We go to work and we toil and we suffer every day. We come back home and we're tired and we're angry every day. That's the human experience. Huh? So why are you whining about the idea that Allah says you must do constant ibadah, constant good deeds? I say you do it anyway. It's part of your life. It's part of who you are. You do things every day without even thinking about it. So why can't you do good deeds every day without thinking about it? What's wrong with you? Oh, it's such a burden. Why is it a burden? Is it not a burden for you to use the washroom in the morning? Sure it is, especially if your bowels don't move that way. If you're constipated, God forbid, your mouth stinks and smells in the morning. Is there a burden on you to wash and brush your teeth every day without fail since the time you were born until the time you die? Until the time you die, you will be constantly washing yourself, toiling because of your physical being. You don't complain about that. Every day you have to make your food, cook your food. Every day you have to go through the burden of eating your food. Why do I need to eat food? So people don't complain about monotony and boredom and repetition because they're just so acclimatized. So the Quran is saying, acclimatize yourself to good deeds. Every day where you start doing good deeds subconsciously, unconsciously, where there's no effort, you drink it like water. So وَيَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا. You believe in Allah and you do good deeds without thinking, without being bored, without being stuck in this idea of being monotonous. It's not the same thing. You have to pray every day. You have to make dua every day. You have to think every day. And say, especially if you join a Sufi tariqah and say, the Shaykh wants me to do this every day. Allahu Akbar. What the heck is this? But did the Shaykh ever tell you not to eat every day? Maybe he should. Did the Shaykh ever tell you shouldn't sleep every day because monotonous is boring? Did the Shaykh ever tell you don't go to work every day because it's monotonous and boring? Well, I'd love to do that, but I can't. I'd die. So he's saying the same thing, meaning the Quran and Sunnah is so natural. It is so natural. Natural. Don't fight with it. Accept it as life. That's where the belief in Allah comes in. When you believe in Allah, Allah maintains you every moment of your life. He doesn't get tired of maintaining you. وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا, Allah says. He doesn't get tired of maintaining the heavens and the earth and the kursi. He does it all the time. He doesn't worry about being monotonous and boring and insipid. He takes care of you every moment of your life. He gives you life every day. He does everything for you all the time without sending you a bill. Constant, consistent. So why don't you just respond and say, okay, I get it. I'm just an ungrateful little brat. I need to show I'm doing some good deeds at least every day. And that's how you get your Islam, that's how you get your practice, and that's how you get your praxis, and that's how you get your constancy and consistency, your istiqamah in the deen, that you do good deeds all the time. All the time. That's your life. Permanence. So anyway, وَيَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا يُكَفِّرْ عَنْهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِ. Allah will then expiate and forgive his mistakes and sins. Yeah. He'll exonerate him. Okay, you made mistakes that you know of, and you make mistakes that you don't know of. And the mistakes you don't know of, they are far greater than the mistakes you know of. Right? You don't know how many mistakes a day you make. So the Prophet said, I seek forgiveness from Allah 100 times a day. Allahu Akbar, Allah. The Rasul is seeking forgiveness from Allah 100 times a day. He's sinless. You know, he is infallible. He doesn't commit sin. But he said, no, I seek istighfar and forgiveness from Allah 100 times a day. So if that's the state of the Rasul, and you have to believe in the Rasul, you have to believe in the nur that the Rasul comes and brings with him, then you must do the same, that in order for you to be forgiven, you have to continuously do good deeds. All the time. Then Allah will forgive you. Even for those mistakes and sins you don't know you commit. وَيَعْفُ عَنْ كَثِيرٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the hasanat yudhibna sayyat, that good deeds, they wipe away bad deeds. So if you do a good deed, then if there's a bad deed there, then it will wipe away the bad deed automatically. Super solution to anxiety and depression. Remove all of that. Am I a human being? I'm a human being. Do I make mistakes? Of course I make mistakes. Okay, then what do I do about the mistakes? You make tawbah and you do good deeds. Combination of both. So you get up and you do the good deed. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. Don't philosophize about it. You're not that much of a genius to philosophize. In the beginning, follow the Rasul. It's very easy. Do what he did. What did he do? He did good deeds and he made tawbah. Both. That's the pattern. That's the role model. If you follow that, then you're happy, you're at peace. You're not disturbed, you're not confused, you're not messed up, you don't need drugs, you don't need to smoke weed, you're okay. You're a decent human being. But this is the formula the Quran is given, وَيُدْخِلْهُ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِ النَّهْرِ. And then as a eventual consequence of Allah, through Allah's fadl, He will allow you to enter Jannah. يُدْخِلْهُ. Allah will allow you to enter Jannah. What type of Jannah? Jannatin tajri min tahtiha al-anhar. Gardens and orchards underneath which rivers of life and bliss flow. They have orchards and orchards of greenery and lush vegetation, and you have all these groves. Yeah, spectacular scenery, paradise, which you guys might akin to Hawaii. What's in Hawaii? Gardens and orchards and trees and water. I mean, they got the concept right. Maybe not the application. We're there. I mean, the human mind is with that universal consciousness. You can go there. Okay, we were there once before, so that must be paradise. You still remember that paradise. So anything that's close to paradise there is also here paradise here. That's how it works, basically. Intellectually, rationally, that's how it works. Because we were there, in the original Jannah, we still have, lingering effects of that in our subconscious memory. Oh, yes, paradise means water. It means gardens. It means orchards. It means life and variety and everything else. So now you assign now paradise to Hawaii, because that's probably one of the 3 places in the world where you have that. Right? Meaning the basic concept is not wrong. The difference is you have to earn it. Here you can jump on a plane for 8 hours and go to Hawaii. You'll probably be, very tired and exhausted by the time you get there, but you can go there. Now Allah says that if you want eternal paradise, permanent bliss, then you can earn it this way. You must believe in Allah and you must continuously do good deeds. You have to earn it this way. After you've done all that, Allah, through His fadl, will allow you to enter these orchards, these gardens, this green space, under which the rivers of eternity and bliss flow. Min tahtiha al-anhar. So this is life and more life and more life. It's constant. And you'll never get tired and you'll never get bored. Sometimes when you go to, especially in islands, I get bored after 3 days. That again, human beings, they are averse to monotony, even in Jannah. So Allah says that in Jannah you'll never get tired. You'll never be bored. La yabghuna anha hiwala. You will never desire to move away from Jannah. That thought will never come to you. Permanent state. So Iman is a permanent state. If you make good deeds a permanent state, then Allah will reward you by giving you permanent bliss. That's how the equation works. All right? It's very simple. The message is very simple. Ad-dinu yusrun. For the Prophet ﷺ, it was easy to convey this, especially now if you're in a nomad, you're Bedouin in Arabia, and you're moving from one place to another. You're pitching tent at one campground to another, and all you see the whole day is the sun. And you're baking in the sun, and you're craving for water, and you're craving for an oasis. And you give this message to the Bedouin Arab. Jannatin tajri min tahti al-anhar. That has an immediate impact. Wow. Really? I can have just abundant access to water and trees and gardens and fruits? Yeah, okay. Sign me up. Sensual pleasures. So the Quran motivates human beings by promising them sensual pleasures, not something that's metaphorical, metaphysical, or abstract. It will be real, it will be physical, it will be sensual. So all this thing, I want to be high and all that. No. You're going to taste the fruit of Jannah. It will be real, it will be sweet. It will be mesmerizingly pleasant. The aroma of Jannah will be real, it will be physical. All the blessings of Jannah will be sensual. And that was the appeal that the Prophet ﷺ gave to the Sahaba. Hey, this is not something that's abstract, that you're a philosopher. And I can philosophize and think abstract, and I can hallucinate. Right? And I can fantasize these things also. No, there's no fantasy there. It is real. It is objective. It is physical. It is concrete, and that's the reward you will get. But you have to do this first. So it comes at a price. Jannah doesn't come free any more than life in the world is free. How do you get pleasure here in this? And I just told you. Even if you want to have a good meal, what do you have to do? Oh, you have to go to the market and buy the stuff. But that's boring. Okay, then don't eat. Then I have to come back home. I have to clean. the ingredients, then I have to treat them, spice them up, wash them, and then I have to cook. So no, that's boring. I can't do all that. Nothing is free. So if you want eternal bliss, it won't be free, brother. You have to work for it. You have to work your socks off. You have to toil. You have to labor. You have to do what they say, mujahada. Earn your Jannah. So that is what the Prophet ﷺ instilled in the Sahaba, being active, not being lazy. Don't be complacent about it. So they were super active, super aggressive, not just in matters of deen and ibadah, which they were, but in matters of the dunya. They were so good in their work ethics and their ability to do work without complaining and without whining. تحت الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا, in which they will live there forever. ذلك الفوز العظيم. This will be the greatest and the most tremendous of triumphs, successes. You want to be successful in the dunya, okay? You have now a mansion and 4-car garage, and you have a wife and family, and you have accolades, and you have degrees, and you have luxurious items in your house, and then you have prestige and honor, and everybody loves you, blah blah blah, and that human beings say that is success. That's how you measure yourself. Foes, yeah. Otherwise known as falah, hayya al-falah, come to success. Our standard of success is that it has to be permanent, not temporary. It's very sensible, so logical. That success in the dunya is okay, it's good, you can aim for it, but it ain't permanent. It's going to die when you die. When you die, all of these forms of success will disappear with you in the grave. They won't come with you. So why are you working towards that? But success in the akhirah, when you're in Jannah, is khalidina fiha abada. You live there permanently, forever. La yabghunana hawla. You'll never desire to move away from Jannah. That will be your permanent residence. And so the mindset is now different. Meaning you tolerate monotony and boredom because you have to survive in the dunya. Then you tolerate hard work because you have to survive in the akhirah. It won't come without hard work. Ramadan is coming. You're going to be, inshallah, fasting. It's hard work. You're going to be thirsty. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be angry. And then you have to do Taraweeh with it, mashallah. And then you have to read the Quran also with it. And you have to wake up for suhoor also with it. And you have to go out throughout the day, with all this hunger and thirst. And the reward for that is eternal bliss with Allah. I mean, there's an exchange there. So the one way to avoid the Taghābun, the mutual loss, as I mentioned, that the day of mutual loss, one way to avoid it is doing this. This is how you avoid being at a loss in the akhirah. You avoid tragedy and harm and being in the loss in this dunya by maintaining yourself and doing what it takes to, be safe and secure and successful, which requires tremendous work. Nobody offers you anything on a plate. Likewise, in the akhirah, you'll have to work for it. If you don't work for it, you won't get there. It's a very simple formula. There's nothing complicated, nothing abstract about it. That's why Deen is very easy, simple to understand. The formula is easy. Example, the nafs comes in between. I can't do this. And we have all these hang-ups, as I said. So get over the hang-ups, understand that this is what you need to do. You have to understand that life is about making a life. Life in this world is not about spending a life for the Muslim. Life in this world for the Muslim is about making another life. Understand? Yeah. So we're not here to spend our lives. We're here to make another life. When? After we die, which is, you know, the paradox of all paradoxes. Totally irrational. Nothing rational about it. Everything has to be rational. Try this. Islam says that when you die, you don't die. How can you say, I just died? Well, you haven't died yet. You're going into the akhirah. There's another life. So you spend your life here to make another life. That is forward thinking, that is progressive thinking, that is revolutionary thinking. That Islam gives you a formula to survive death. There's not a doctor on the planet who can give you this pill. I mean, they're fighting, end of life things and this have prolonged life and whatever you put in on tubes and hospitals and whatnot. But eventually you die. No one gives you hope for life after death except Islam. Islam is the only concept and religion that gives you hope for life after death, meaning Islam gives you the formula to survive life. That is the greatest ni'mah of all of human beings. There's nothing like it because it is so good, so refreshing, so comforting that when I die, I'm not dead, right? I'm still alive. I'm still there in the grave, alhamdulillah. And then if I've done good deeds, then Allah reward me, and then hopefully, inshallah, through Allah's fadl, I'll end up in a better place. But I mean, that's a simple formula. So now, in order to avoid mutual loss on the Day of Judgment, you have to give something here in this world, which is called sacrifice. Going through the mill, staying away from haram, being good in your behavior, in your ethics, in your moral, in your conduct, and doing good deeds of salat, sawm, zakat, hajj, and all the nawafil that comes along with it, sadaqah and charity and all of that. When you do all of this, then there is a nur that presides over you and your mind and your rationality. If you have good deeds, you have a different idea of life. If you don't have good deeds, you have a very awkward, distorted idea of life. Then nothing makes sense to you, and you go around, walking in the streets like a chicken without a head. You don't know who you are, you don't know where you are. And that's why you resort to drugs and you resort to this sin and that sin, and then you're confused, and then you're depressed. Then you are on pills that make you more depressed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and allow us to be saved from the Taghābun, the mutual loss on the Day of Judgment. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ta'ala khayra khalqi. Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika. Assalamu alaikum.